If you've ever been jolted awake at 2 in the morning by a pain so intense it felt like your calf was being ripped from the bone, you already know exactly what this is about. You know what it's like to sit up in the dark, grabbing your leg, pressing hard into the muscle trying to force it to release. You know the helpless feeling of watching your own foot curl inward like it belongs to someone else. And you probably know that sickening thought that follows. It's going to happen again tomorrow. If that sounds familiar, I need you to stay with me. Because what I'm about to share is almost certainly different from everything you've already tried. The real explanation for why so many seniors experience night leg cramps, the kind that keep coming back no matter what, has almost nothing to do with what most people believe causes them. Everyone keeps telling seniors to eat more bananas, take potassium, drink more water, and some of that has its place. But here's what nobody is telling you. For millions of people over 60, potassium is not the real problem. The legs aren't cramping because of what's missing from dinner. They're cramping because of something happening inside the nerves and muscles themselves. Something silent, slow, and building for years without an obvious warning sign. If this channel is new to you, this is exactly what we do here. We explain the health topics that matter most for people over 60 clearly, completely, and honestly. If that sounds useful, hit subscribe right now. Now, let's talk about what's actually happening inside your legs at night. I want you to picture the muscles in your calves not as simple flesh, but as a complex electrical system. Hundreds of muscle fibers, each connected to a nerve fiber, each carrying a continuous stream of electrical signals from your spinal cord, telling those muscles what to do. When everything works correctly, muscles contract when they should, and relax when they should. When you lie down to sleep, the system quiets, the signals steady, the muscles let go. But when the electrical signaling becomes unstable, when the energy supply inside muscle cells drops too low, when the nerves themselves are undernourished, the muscles lose the ability to release properly. They hold, they tighten, they seize, and they do it at the worst possible moment, the middle of the night, when your body is supposed to be resting. That is what a night leg cramp is at its core. Not simple potassium deficiency, not just dehydration. It's a failure of the neuromuscular system to complete the relaxation cycle. And that failure has specific identifiable causes that respond to specific targeted nutrition. Today I'm walking you through 5 vitamins and nutrients that directly affect this system, counting down from number 5 to number 1. And I'll tell you right now, the one at the top is not what you're expecting. Most people have never connected it to leg cramps at all, but once you understand the mechanism, everything will click. Number 5, vitamin D3. Most people know vitamin D is connected to bones. What most people don't know is that it has a direct role in how muscles function. Think of vitamin D as the gatekeeper for calcium movement inside muscle cells. When you have adequate vitamin D, calcium flows in and out of muscle fibers the way it should, supporting proper contraction and, just as importantly, proper release. When vitamin D is low, that flow becomes sluggish and unpredictable. The result is muscle fibers that fatigue faster and are more vulnerable to spasm, especially during the long stillness of night. Research from Harvard Health has noted that vitamin D deficiency is far more common in older adults than most people realize, and its effects on muscle function are frequently overlooked. The aching, heavy feeling in the legs that many seniors write off as just getting older is sometimes vitamin D expressing itself through the muscular system. Number 4, magnesium glycinate. I want to be careful here because many of you watching have already taken magnesium, maybe for months, and you've noticed some improvement, but the cramps haven't completely gone away. There's a reason for that, and it gets to the heart of what this video is really about. Magnesium is essential for muscle relaxation. That part is absolutely true. It competes with calcium at the muscle fiber level, helping fibers release their contraction after the nerve signal has passed. Without enough magnesium, muscles remain in low-level tension that makes cramping far more likely. But here's what magnesium cannot do on its own. It cannot fix a problem that originates upstream in the nervous system. Magnesium works at the muscle level. If the nerve signals arriving at the muscle are unstable or misfiring, no amount of magnesium will fully solve the problem. It will reduce the severity. It may reduce the frequency, but the root disruption continues. Think of it this way. If your car's engine is misfiring, good oil will help it run more smoothly. But if the spark plugs themselves are failing, the oil alone won't fix the misfire. We're going to talk about those spark plugs. But first, number 3, vitamin E. Vitamin E is usually associated with skin health and circulation in a general sense. What's less commonly discussed is its specific role in protecting peripheral nerves. The long, thin nerve fibers that run from your spinal cord all the way down through your legs and into your feet. Those nerves travel a long distance, and along that journey, they're exposed to oxidative stress, the biological equivalent of corrosion. Free radicals accumulate over time and cause low-level damage to the protective coating around nerve fibers, called myelin. Myelin is what allows electrical signals to travel cleanly and at the right speed. When myelin is damaged, signals slow down and scatter. They arrive at the muscle fiber incomplete or mistimed. And incomplete, mistimed signals mean muscles that should release don't release cleanly, and muscles that should stay quiet fire unexpectedly. Vitamin E is one of the primary defenders of peripheral nerve integrity. Research cited by the National Institutes of Health confirms that adequate vitamin E supports healthy nerve function and that deficiency is associated with peripheral neuropathy, the condition where nerve signals to the legs become irregular and unreliable. Many seniors describe their nighttime leg cramps as feeling almost electrical. That description is more accurate than they realize. Number 2. Vitamin B12. Pay close attention here, because this nutrient connects to symptoms that millions of seniors experience without fully understanding. B12 is directly involved in the production and maintenance of myelin. Without adequate B12, the peripheral nerves begin to lose structural integrity. Signals traveling down into the legs become increasingly distorted. And from the inside, that feels like tingling in the feet, numbness that comes and goes, a strange electric shock sensation running down the leg, cold feet when the rest of the body is warm, and nighttime cramps that seem to come from nowhere, affecting not just the calf but the feet, the arch, the toes. What makes B12 deficiency particularly dangerous for older adults is that it develops silently over years before producing obvious symptoms. And it has hidden causes many seniors don't realize apply to them. If you take metformin for blood sugar, that medication reduces B12 absorption. If you have low stomach acid, extremely common after 60, your body can't properly extract B12 from food. The Mayo Clinic has documented that B12 deficiency is significantly underdiagnosed in older populations, precisely because its symptoms are so easily attributed to normal aging. Now I want to pause before number 1, because I want to tell you about someone. His name was Gerald. He was 74, a retired long-haul truck driver from outside of Tulsa. He'd wake up almost every night, sometimes twice, with his right calf locked up so hard he said it felt like the muscle was trying to pull off the bone. He'd tried everything: bananas every day, potassium supplements, extra water, magnesium, compression socks, elevated feet. Some things helped a little. The cramps kept coming. What nobody had ever checked was his B1 level. Years of a fairly limited diet, combined with a diuretic he'd been taking for his blood pressure for nearly a decade. Diuretics cause significant thiamine loss through the urine, had left his neuromuscular system running on critically low reserves. His blood work always came back normal because nobody ordered the right test, and the right test wasn't on the standard panel. He didn't need more potassium. He needed his nerves to finally have what they were missing. And that brings us to number 1. Number 1. Vitamin B1. Thiamine. This is the one. This is what most people watching have never connected to their leg cramps. And once I explain the mechanism, I think you'll understand immediately why it matters so much, and why it's so commonly missed. Every muscle cell in your body runs on energy, specifically on a molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Think of ATP as the actual currency your muscles use to do work, to contract, to release, to fire and then quiet down again. Without adequate ATP, the muscle cannot complete the full cycle. It gets stuck, it holds, it seizes. Thiamine is the essential nutrient that allows cells to convert glucose into ATP. It is not a minor player in this process. It is one of the central enzymes. Without adequate thiamine, the energy conversion slows dramatically. The muscle cell runs low on ATP, and a muscle cell running low on ATP in the middle of the night, when it should be quiet and relaxed, is a muscle that cramps. But thiamine does something else, something that ties together everything we've been building toward in this video. Thiamine is required for active nerve signal transmission in the peripheral nervous system, the nerves running down into your legs. Not just for protection like vitamin E, not just for structural maintenance like B12, but for the actual biochemical process that generates and regulates the electrical impulses telling your muscles what to do. When thiamine is insufficient, nerve conduction slows and becomes irregular. Signals arrive at the muscle fiber distorted. The instruction to relax is incomplete. The muscle doesn't fully release. And in the stillness of night, that held tension finds its release in the one way it can: a cramp. Your leg muscles are like electrical wires connected to tiny batteries. Thiamine is what helps those batteries recharge and keeps the electrical signals stable while you sleep. When the batteries run low, the wires misfire. That is not poetic language. That is an accurate description of the mechanism. The National Institutes of Health has documented that older adults frequently have marginal thiamine status, not severe deficiency, but a quieter, more common insufficiency that flies completely below the radar of standard blood work. Most panels don't test for functional thiamine status. Standard tests look for severe deficiency. They don't catch the subclinical insufficiency that is quietly disrupting neuromuscular function in millions of older adults. This is why Gerald's situation was never identified. The risk factors for thiamine insufficiency in older adults are remarkably common: diuretic use, which flushes B vitamins through the kidneys; diabetes, which increases thiamine excretion; decreased appetite; limited consumption of thiamine-rich foods. The Cleveland Clinic has noted that thiamine deficiency is significantly associated with peripheral neuropathy, the exact condition that causes the irregular, misfiring nerve signals producing cramps and nighttime leg pain. Many seniors don't have a potassium problem. They have an electrical signaling problem. And the electrical signaling problem begins with the fuel that powers the entire system. If what I've shared resonates with you, if you've spent months or years dealing with these cramps, trying things that helped a little but never solved it completely, there's a complete guide built specifically for this situation. It goes deeper than any video can, covering the full protocol: dosing, timing, what to take with what, and how to track your improvement week by week. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. If you're on television and can't click, there's a QR code on the screen right now. Access it while this is fresh. Now I want to be honest with you about what recovery actually looks like, because you deserve honesty more than promises. This is not a situation where you take one supplement and the cramps disappear overnight. The deficiencies that contribute to nighttime cramping have usually developed over a long period of time. What people often notice first, sometimes within the first 2 weeks, is a change in the character of the cramps, not a complete stop. The muscle releases a little faster. The recovery afterward is quicker. That is the first signal the system is beginning to respond. Over weeks and months, for people who address the root causes consistently, the frequency tends to decrease. The nights between cramps grow longer. The other thing that changes, and this is what Gerald noticed most, is the mornings. He said the first sign that things were getting better wasn't the cramps themselves. It was that he stopped waking up dreading his first steps. He'd gotten so used to the soreness from the previous night's episode that waking up feeling normal felt like a gift. He said he'd forgotten what that felt like. That's what we're talking about. Not a miracle, not a reversal of age, a return to function, a restoration of the sleep and the mornings, and the daily confidence that comes from a body that isn't fighting itself at 2 in the morning. Night leg cramps are not random. They are not just the random misfiring of aging muscles. They are signals. Your muscles are communicating something. They're telling you, in the most direct way they can, that the system powering and controlling them is not receiving what it needs. That should actually be a reassuring thought, because a signal is something you can respond to. A system running low on specific, identifiable nutrients is a system that can be supported. Gradually, consistently, honestly. If you found this valuable, hit the like button right now, because it helps this information reach people who need it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment answering this. How long have you been dealing with nighttime leg cramps? And have you ever been told it was a potassium problem? I read every comment, and your experience shapes what we cover next. Most conversations about aging focus on what we're losing, but the neuromuscular system, the nerves, the muscles, the electrical dance between them, responds to nutrition. It responds to care. Not perfectly, not immediately, but genuinely. Your legs are not failing because of your age. Your nerves may simply be hungry for what they were never given. If this video helped you understand something you've been living with for a long time, share it now. Not with just anyone, but with the specific person in your life who you know wakes up in pain. One conversation can change what someone tries next, and what they try next might finally be the thing that works. Subscribe and stay close. Next week, we're continuing this conversation in a direction that I think is going to surprise you. You don't want to miss it. Take care of those legs. They've carried you a long way.